Well, hello there and welcome back to the Hull City Fan Central YouTube channel, where today I am back, and I'm back with my Hull City season review for the 2022-23 season. Of course, the season has officially ended now with Luton's playoff win. Luton winning in the playoff. It's a big deal, but not as big as this season review for Hull City. It's been a season worth of ups and downs, highs and lows, and everything in between. So in this video, I'll be going over all of my predictions from the start of the season, how they've forecasted, and then also a bit of extra information about my personal season with Hull City, using a few bit of statistics that I'll be sharing with you from our friends over at FanHub. So let's get into my personal stuff from the season. So obviously my friends over at FanHub do have a partnership with them. If you use my link down in the description, you'll get a free access to their app. It's a brilliant app. I've made a video on this separately. I'll link it in the description once again, so check out FanHub. But these facts are all through their app themselves, which I've been logging in. Great. So, predictions wise for the season, obviously, I do a prediction video pretty much every game of the season. I've missed a few due to various different reasons, but I've been logging them in on the app. 6 predictions of mine have been 100% correct for the season. That's 6 whole predictions, 100% correct, which I think, running off the course of the season, that's quite a good thing. Say we've had some injuries, have some surprise things. It probably could have been up a bit more if I paid a bit more attention to some of the press conferences. Maybe could have got that up to, I don't know, 8, possibly on to 10, 100% predictions. But I'm happy with 6. It's an improvement from last season. I think I only got 4 or something like that. So 6 is an improvement in the right direction. My most predicted player was Regan Slater, the 50 grand man, and I believe at the end of the season he did play the most minutes for the Tigers, so that's quite a good thing. And then my most incorrectly predicted player was Oscar Estupiñán. Now that's quite a shock to a few people. Obviously, he has faced a bit of injury worries towards the end of the season, missed out on the last few months. But then also there was a few moments in the season where he became too much of a predictable striker. I'm more looking at the start of Liam Rosenior with Andy Dawson era. It became a bit of a predicament where Oscar was just getting 2-man marks on him, and it was basically making us lose games by playing one of our best players, definitely our best goal scorer. So it's definitely one that was a bit of a tricky one to predict during them times, as you didn't know if he was going to get benched or if he was going to play in the starting 11. Of course he would play. So it was a tricky one with that, but he was my most incorrectly predicted player. Then going over to more of a statistics around the games I've been to and all of that sort of jazz. So I have attended 21 games this season. Yes, 21 whole games. It's a little bit less than what I wanted to get to, of course. A few games I had to miss due to various different reasons. 16 home games, not too bad. Definitely would like to get to have more, but things get in the way. And then 5 away games, that is an improvement from last season. I think last season I only got to 2 or 3. So 5 this season, that's an improvement. I have vlogs for every single one of them on the channel. And in part, I visited 6 stadiums. Of course, the most visited was the MKM Stadium, the home stadium. You probably would predict that the home stadium would be my most attended one. Travelled over 1,000 miles, though, for this season for the Tigers, 1,021 miles. It's not too shabby for a little club in East Yorkshire. Not little by any stretch of the imagination. So 1,021 miles travelled. That is quite good to say that a lot of the away games that I've been to haven't been astronomical distances. I think either West Brom or like Blackburn are probably the furthest away games I've been to this season. So, and that's 100, 200 miles maybe at a push. So that's decent work. It's decent work. Average, I've got an average for miles. averaging at 49 miles per game. That's quite good to say that it's less than 10 miles to the MKM. That's quite good. So then let's move on to more of an in-depth look into each game that I've attended this season. So, of all the games that I've seen, the 21 games, seen 6 Hull City wins, 8 draws and 7 losses. Of course, that is going to reflect into the games that I went to. Our home record, yet again, has not been the best. Of course, it was better than last season. Last season's home record was diabolical. But this season, I think it was a pretty consistency between home and away games in the way that the results were faring out. I think that there wasn't really a moment where we thought, like, I might just stack in the home games and go to the away games, sort of like what was happening last season. And then through those games, 17 Hull City goals I watched being scored, 24 for the opposition. Of course, that doesn't help that I attended that West Brom away game where we lost 5-2. Yeah, that didn't really help. Penalties-wise, saw Hull City win 3 penalties, and then saw the opposition win 4 penalties. Of course, a big one from that is that Birmingham game at home where Troy Deeney managed to get 2 penalties. He only scored 1, but he managed to win 2 penalties for Birmingham. Red cards-wise, now this is an interesting one. I saw no Hull City red cards. I think there was only one for the season, and that was that Oscar Estupinian one. Or no, there was 2. There was that one and then Benjamin Tete against Sheffield United, I believe, where he just lashed out. I think those were the only 2 red cards that we had, both away games that I didn't get to. So I didn't see any Hull City red cards this season. Saw 3 for the opposition. Obviously, I think all 3 of them were at home. Which I was going to say it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Playing against 10 men, not crying about that too much, especially on 3 different occasions. And I believe those 3 different occasions came out in our favour in the end. I may be mistaken on that. So now let's break into a little bit more of the predictions side of things, as I'm just pulling up bits on my computer. So I'm going to go with the big one first. The table prediction. Now, I was bold at the start of the season. I was bold. I think I made this prediction, I think was just coming towards the end of the transfer window, just starting the season. So, of course, a few of the names weren't in. I think Ryan Woods weren't in. A few of the younger lads that we brought into our academy and then have developed through weren't in. So, yeah, but the fair chunk of the squad was in when I made this prediction. And a lot of people had us as a weird team that a lot of people said could be a bogey team, could be relegated. And I think that I favoured on the side of Hull City, putting us in 6th and predicting us to go up via playoffs. Of course, that didn't work out in the end. We weren't too far off in all realistical sense. We were just below mid-table, but if you're looking at the points-wise, if you're looking at how tight this season was, we weren't that far off the playoffs in the end. A good changing our form around in that sort of slump era would have put us into playoffs. So if we had Liam Rosini for the entire season, if he started with us and played all 46 games with us, we would be in the playoffs. So it's a sort of thing like that you look at and you go, my prediction wasn't too far off, although putting us about 10 places ahead of where we did actually finish may be too far off. Although I did predict Burnley to win the league. I'm calling that one. I also predicted Leeds to get relegated from the Prem. So the swings and roundabouts here. So other than the Championship table prediction, I also predicted the Hull City Player of the Season awards and all that sort of thing. So Academy Player of the Year, I put down Vaughan Coville. Of course, he did suffer a I can't remember what injury it was. It may have been his ACL or hamstring. It was like a big injury 3 or 4 games into the season, and that put him out for the entire season. I'll be looking forward to see what he does next season. Presume that he'll spend a good chunk of it in the under-21, sort of regaining that physical health back up to a Championship standard. But that was an unfortunate pick on my half. I believe that Ian Ashby's son, won it in the end, that award. and apparently he's been doing cracking recently. I can't wait to see him flourish and then develop into the first team, and sort of follow the same reins as his father did. Goal of the season now. I picked Louis Coyle. Yeah, because he scored that magnificent goal against Nottingham Forest on the last day of the season last season. So I thought, maybe he might do the same thing again at some point this season. I mean, he scored a few goals, I believe. I might be mistaken on that one, but I think he scored at least one. But it went to Regan Slater in the end. The 50 grand man pulled it out, I believe. Or was it? No, it may have been Greg Doherty. Let me just pull it up. Greg Doherty for, I believe it was that magnificent one against Blackpool away. Or, yeah, that rifle one into the top net. Yeah, goal of the season worthy. Just pretty much a gamble, that one. This is one where it was kind of, I kind of put out this one as a sort of safe bet, the player of the season. Both supporters and player, I put out as sort of like a safe bet. Supporters, Simon Ash. I don't think that he sort of showed a development from last season this season. Of course, he had a few injury problems, which didn't help things. But being a supporter player of the season means that he needs to be with the supporters. And I think that Regan Slater was worthy of that. I think that he showed greatness this season. And I don't take that phrase lightly. So he did get the supporters player of the season and also the players player of the season, which I both put down side mesh for the supporters, Seri for the players. I put down Seri for the player of the season by the manager's pick. Alfie Jones won that. I see why. I do see our defence since Liam Rosenior came in has been a tight-knit society, forcing the two centre-backs to really raise their game. And I think that both McLaughlin and Alfie Jones have both done that. I mean, McLaughlin's earned a Ireland call-up for this, for his performances in the latter half of this season. So I do think that it could have gone to either of the two centre-backs in the end. I think I put my vote down for McLaughlin in the supporters player of the season. Obviously, this is a manager's player of the season, which Alfie Jones won. So, yeah, I don't think that by any stretch of the imagination, these are the wrong picks. I think that, of course, picking it from the start of the season, it is a hard one to really predict how the season will go, and who knows what will happen with this next season, as it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. And then finally, the young player of the season. I got this one right. I was a safe bet on it, Jacob Greaves. I'm not sure if he'll qualify for it next season if he is still at the club, obviously. But it was a safe bet, and that one actually pulled off. There's lucky charms in it. Right, so that's it for this video. That's all my season reviewing done. Let me know down in the comments any other bits of reviewing that you have from your season, any other bits like that. Make sure you check out in the description FanHub as well. We are partners with them. All of our content gets put onto their newsfeed. And yeah, check them out. It's a really good app, of course, coming into it is the end of the season now. So we'll see how that develops into the next season. But make sure you like and subscribe, as I will have plenty more content coming out over the coming weeks, months, and decades probably, as we come into the transfer window, which opens up very, very soon. But I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.